Man. What's going on? What's going on? Get some people in here. Get some people in here before I start freestyling. How's everybody doing? Eddie, what up? Sean, what up? Danny, W81, what's up? Be Strong, what's up? Jeff, what up? Covenant, man, what's up, man? I heard you recently ran by the Branhams. I need to get some bars off. So if y'all could just give me a little bit of time. Can everybody hear me? I waved and greeted people as they came in. Can y'all just give me like a thumbs up? Pound, there we go. Sean, was good, man. Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me. This ain't my normal setup. I'm normally on YouTube. But I wanted to I just wanted to get it out there. Aaron, what's good, bro? My guy. Shane, what's up? Oh, no problem, man. Much more music coming in 2023, I promise. First quarter. I got a lot coming. Trust me. I'm coming. All right, bet. So let's just get started because I listen, man. I don't want to belabor it. Let's talk. Tony, my nigga, what's good? I need them oils, cuz. Don't send me nothing for the free either. Just let me know when they drop. I'm on them. Make sure y'all follow Herbal Nuance. It's my boy. All right, let's have this conversation because this has been going on for a little bit today. It's been the hot topic of the day. Yeah, I don't want nothing free, my G. I got you. He was probably like, I wasn't gonna send you nothing free either. That's why you my dog, man. I hope you're good. Okay, shout out to Africa, man. Shout out to Mozambique. Good God, I be wanting to know how do y'all find me in Africa? That's so crazy. So crazy. So, all right, let's get into it. So today was the latest episode of CHH is Dead. Is everybody familiar with what went on? Do I need to do the timeline? Or is everybody familiar with what's going on? Have y'all been keeping up with the conversation on Twitter? This is one of the reasons why I hate Twitter. Twitter is good for talk, but it's not good for context. You know what I'm saying? We got to get in a room and talk about context. So basically, I don't know who posted something, but people talk all the time about this is what CHH needs to do and this, that, and the third, whatever. People just say stuff. It's Twitter, right? So Kristen Gray pops up and, is talking strong and basically in so many words, it's just yo, CHH is dead. I ain't never needed blah, 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 this, that, and the third. I should probably pull these tweets up for context. Okay, how'd you find Taylor? Twitter is definitely cocaine. We were prophetic. CRS was prophetic. We was talking about this 10 years ago. So, actually, let me pull this up. Let me pull it up because I don't want to misconstrue any words. All right? I don't misconstrue no words. I want to make sure that everybody is represented fairly because I'm not taking sides. I'm on the side of the truth. All right? That's it. I'm on the side of the truth. Come on. Joe. What did he say? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, and folks is just listen, man. Let me say this. Because we got to pray for Chris. We got to pray for everybody. It's bigger than Nino Brown. This is bigger than Kristen Gray. Let me tell y'all. Much bigger. So I can't even find the tweet and exactly what he said, right? But basically he was like, CHH is dead, and everybody jumped on him. And in turn, people was talking strong because Chris is initial tweet was strong, right? And in turn, Chris is responding strong. And then you got a bunch of people who are just like, he's tweeting passive aggressive and all types of stuff, right? People that they know. That's the other problem. Like, y'all know these people. Y'all got phone numbers, y'all got DMs, y'all follow each other, and there's no conversation, right? But in that, so I think what ended up happening was the metric became about like success, numbers. So everybody's throwing numbers. CHH is doing this, they torn, they doing this, they doing this, they doing this. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Because that shouldn't be the metric. It's the metric that Chris threw out, but it's not the metric. There are several metrics. And I think and how everybody is responding, they're talking about CHH as an entity. And the problem is that CHH is a system, but it's a system that is occupied by people. The same way y'all say the church is not a building, the church is people. CHH is people. It's rappers and promoters and all this stuff. It's a subgenre of an industry. And I thank the Lord that he allowed me. Chad, what up, man? I thank the Lord that and see, I was going to bring up Chad too, because actually this reminded me of something that happened with Chad and I, one of our very few like in-person interactions. But CHH is people. There are systems and they're people. And I think what happens is because it's a both and thing, people aren't acknowledging the people aspect. They're only acknowledging the people aspect from someone like a Chris. When Chris is an extreme, but there are several Christian Greys. There are several people who have intentionally distanced themselves from Christian hip hop. And everybody can't be wrong. Everybody can't be dismissed. You know what I'm saying? So when I got into the space, because some people like myself, I've never considered myself Christian hip hop. However, I have utilized Christian hip hop resources. So when people put me in that space, I'm not mad. I'm not the Christian rapper or rapper. All that is dumb. Remember when Lecrae was like going really stupid hard about not being labeled as a Christian rapper? And then he got on ESPN and they called him a Christian rapper? It don't matter at the end of the day. Still nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can do all that work. So when people say that CHH is dead, I want to define what dead is, because dead means different things to different people. So in the example of the conversation on Twitter today, we talked about numbers, metrics, numbers, right? And somebody made a comment about Chris that talked about how he had to work. He was working a job while he was signed to Kirk Franklin and all this stuff. And nobody ever thought to think like why he felt like he needed to work a job. Was that just on him? Is there a thing where there is this idea that Christian hip hop is this thing? This entity, this level, this place? Because what my experience was and what I saw was a bunch of zealous young kids who wanted to make art for Jesus. And they saw a platform to do it. And there was a monolithic pathway. And it was get on Rapzilla, and it was get noticed by Reach or Humble Beast or one of these top tier labels, and it was get signed by them, and then it was get the videos. It was just this one linear singular pathway. And that messed a lot of people up. Because what we're seeing now is that what the kids is doing, what this new generation is doing, they're not worried about none of these pathways. They're making it happen on their own. None of this applies to them whatsoever. But I know when I came into it, I was privy to a lot of information, as are people in this space, as are people who are in this chat right now, privy to information, privy to structures and people, and those structures would create opportunity for young, zealous, creative, artistic people to be manipulated and be used, and to have their guilt and to have their gifts exhausted for the benefit of somebody else, with a promise of fortune and fame and riches, success, numbers, touring. I know that for a fact. You know what I'm saying? I know that for a fact. I'm not bitter. I'm not mad I didn't get signed. Y'all know me. I've been on my own path. I don't like. Here's my Chad Horton story, bro. I went to Flavor Fest 2013. Look it up. I did the Rapzilla thing with V Rose and a couple of other people, right? And I was sitting in a hotel room with Chad, and it was a bunch of like kids in the room. And this is the fourth time this thought had crossed my mind. This ain't the first time. But Chad and I looked at each other, and Chad and I are similar in age, I believe. These are just a bunch of kids. And I was looking and I was like, yo, what am I doing here? What is this? Really? Because it was some stuff going on the whole weekend, and it ain't got nothing to do with Flavor Fest, none of that. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus today. That's not happening. I just want everybody to be responsible, and I want context to be the focal issue. And I want everybody to own what was what, right? So I'm not the person that's gonna sit up here and act like I'm not speaking from a place of like disappointment and bitterness and hurt, but we have to like think, if it's all these people who are experiencing this stuff, like, yo, where there's smoke, there has to be some fire somewhere. It may not be the whole building, but maybe it's a room, it's a corner, and it has to be acknowledged and explored. And when you just say, yo, people got to get healing and whatever, it's like, no, we have to acknowledge that these systems that were put in place took advantage of people. They preyed on convictions. Y'all want to spread the gospel. I want to do this for God, and because there's no like real business structure in it, you're just hoping that people do right by you because of the music that you're hearing, and the content that you're hearing is glorifying God. So you're in turn assuming that these are upstanding citizens. And I'm not saying that no one in the subgenre is upstanding. What I am saying is there are people in the genre who are not upstanding and who preyed on that consistently. And people were like, yo, what am I going to do? Do I honor God with my gift? Who don't want to honor God with their gift? You know what I'm saying? Who don't want to honor the Lord? Who gonna sit up there and say, nah, I don't want to honor Jesus. I need to be compensated for my talents and my gifts and my time. Who would say, especially back then? Now, yeah, it's all about getting to the bag. Back then, when there wasn't really there was no blueprint. The blueprint was Lecrae, it was Reach. That was the only blueprint. So if you're a rapidy rap dude, what you gonna do? Because you're not making 1, 2, 3 jump music. You're not making music for the youths. You're not gonna get invited to and that's the other thing. Because of that system, it created a monolithic culture. So there's a monolithic sound and a monolithic culture where you have to live in certain places, you have to have connections to certain people, you have to get on certain websites, you have to do all this stuff in order to, this is what people believed, in order to be successful. And if you didn't get on those websites, you were not successful. People were pushing that. Do you know how many young artists I discipled? And we're going to get into discipleship. Do you know how many young artists I discipled and that was their thing? Yo, I just want to get on Rapzilla. That's it. I just want to get on Rapzilla. I just want to get on, the South for H2O or whatever. I just gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was it. And so if you didn't do that, there are people who are now, they gotta manipulate they gotta switch their style up. Charles, what up, man? Good to see you. And another thing that I saw, and the other reason why these things were able to kind of like happen was because there was on a macro level, no accountability and no discipleship. None. I got it. Dog, let me tell y'all how I didn't know, right? So I did a video on YouTube about my experience, like, with my ministry I was in for 10 years and all the stuff that I learned and the manipulation and all that stuff. And I'm hip, bro. I'm hip. I got degree. Listen, man. So I was at that church, and that church was like pounding accountability and discipleship into my head. You gotta be discipled. You gotta be accountable. And once I got into the scene and I looked around, I was like, yo, ain't none of these niggas being discipled. Some of these niggas ain't even serving at a church. Now, to this day, I'm not. But that's very intentional. And I think that serving in a church in 2023 is different than serving in a church in 2013. And in all of my going through my deconstruction, all that stuff, you ain't never heard me throw the church away. You ain't never heard me say nothing bad about Jesus. I love the church. You know what I'm saying? But I was being told I had to be discipled. And I'm finding out like, yo, these niggas ain't even going to Sunday service. What? But they are up high. They are on platforms. And it's not any of these platforms' jobs. Like I keep mentioning Rapzilla. It's not Rapzilla's job to disciple anybody. They're a platform. You know what I'm saying? So nobody's being discipled. Nobody's being accountable. So you know what my discipleship was in hip hop? Regular secular hip hop. Because for me, when I got saved in 2005. When I got saved, I tell the story all the time. There was a kid who lived down in the dorm for me. I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan. I was in the Air Force. This kid found out I got saved. I forgot his name. Short white kid, super cool. And he would just slide Christian hip hop CDs under my dorm. Yo, Trike, we worked different shifts. He worked overnight, I worked daytime, so we didn't really get to talk. So he would just send me CDs. He sent me everything that was popping from 2001 to like 2005. He sent it to me. I hated all of it. There's one song I liked by The Truth that I liked. There might have been one or two songs that I liked on Lecrae's Real Talk. The rest I didn't like. It was so hard that I loved, y'all know me, I'm the hip hop kid. I loved hip hop so much. I was so conflicted in my beliefs. And I was like, yo, if I have to be a part of this music and create music like this in order to please God, I don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do it. And so it took a long time for me to get to that point to where I lost my point. I lost my place. But it took me a long time to get to the place that I'm at now. And I would get people who would DM me. When I started CRS, because I got into Christian hip hop and was like, yo, y'all don't know nothing about hip hop. Y'all know nothing. Y'all's reference point is the last 20 years of Christian hip hop. So, that's my point. So who discipled me in the faith as a Christian hip hop artist were hip hop artists. So when you don't have a reference point for how you're supposed to act, or that monolithic pathway is not appealing to you, then you go the path of Jay-Z, of Kanye West. And this is 2010, 2009. So this is like peak Illuminati. So now I'm really going against God. And there was never a voice in the culture that would say, that's not right. I know artists who got freaking bookings taken away simply because they tweeted about an album, a secular hip hop album. Not everybody doing it, right? So there was no accountability and discipleship on a macro level. Not at large. I'm sure individual spaces had it, but not at large. Because let me tell you, when you get into those scenes, you get into those spaces and those green rooms, it was a lot of stuff going on that was the antithesis of what they rapped about. And my problem is not the thing, because I'm not the legalistic guy. Trust me. But talk about it. I'm writing rhymes about how I was doing my thing, smashing whatever in Jesus' name. I'm writing raps about it. I'm letting y'all know this is where I'm at in the Lord. I ain't got nothing to hide. I believe God will meet me here. You feel me? Am I wrong for that? I'm not. I was never wrong for that. You know what I'm saying? So there's a monolithic culture, and in turn, that monolithic culture, it bred gatekeeping. Yeah, it bred gatekeeping. The reference point was always some bizarre album I was told was a classic Christian album. I didn't get saved on the music either. Absolutely. I didn't get saved on the music either. The music didn't. I wanted people, the way that I wrote my music for years was to see people. I wanted you to, hi Lauren, I'm so glad you're here. I wanted people to be seen and say, if I see you, I know God sees you. You know what I'm saying? That's it. So there's a monolithic culture, bred gatekeeping. People were stealing resources and creativity from these young Christian artists. Let me tell you, so, like, bro, there was a reason why these niggas was writing letters to Christian hip hop, because they was tired of the shenanigans and the politics. You know what I'm saying? We have to acknowledge these things. Chris didn't just get here. These other artists didn't just get. Let me tell y'all something. I discipled people out of Christian hip hop. I didn't disciple them out of making art for Jesus. I would never do that. But I told people, literally came up to me and said, yo, hey man, I saw so-and-so was on this album. So-and-so was on your album. You took a picture with this person. You was here, use this. I've been blessed enough to like get into these spaces with these artists, but like never did music with many of them. Never got promoted on their platforms. None of it. Y'all saw the video that Jay Givens did with me back in 2016. 80% of y'all didn't even know I was in the video. But I'm in these spaces. So I know the conversations that are being had, and I don't have connections. I'm not protecting anybody. I'm not hiding anything from anybody. You know what I'm saying? But I know Jesus, these people their resources and their talents are being used up by higher tiered Christian rappers. They're being used. Yo, write this hook for me. Yo, let me get that song. Let me take that song. I got it. Don't pay them. Don't credit them. Don't do nothing. Promise them to say, yeah, you signed to the late. Doesn't happen. Just stay here. Stay OVO Sweatshop. We talk about on CRS. Make sure y'all listen to Clock Radio speakers. OVO Sweatshop. Your Roy Woods and your who the other kids? Majid Jordan and all them dudes be just sitting party next door, just sitting writing hits for Drake. It's happening for years. Years. With a promise of fame and fortune that if there was accountability and discipleship on a macro level, if it was culture for that to be the case, that would have been squelched. That would have been squelched. Nobody would have been like, yo, that's Lecrae's way. That's how he made it. You have your own way of making it. Make sure that you stay close to God and you stay open to whatever creative avenues that you have in order to, you know what I'm saying, that he wants to bless you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then the smoke and mirrors. And so in turn, people are keeping up appearances because people are selling records. They're on TV. They got these deals. They got all this stuff. But these niggas still got jobs. And there's nothing wrong with it. I got a job. I got a job. I got 4 kids. I got to have a job. You know what I'm saying? So you join late if you sit up here talking about Chris. Like we this is bigger than Nino Brown. It's bigger than Chris. So that's not and that's the thing. Who sat down and asked Chris and people like Chris what happened? What happened? What were the sequence of events that led up to you making that statement? What happened? Who knows the context of what happened to Chris and other people like him? Because he's not alone. He is not on an island. Who knows the context? Somebody tell me. Somebody jump in the comments. Servant music, jump in the comments. Tell me. Who got context? Yes, I got time. I got time, my nigga. It's Sunday night. This is my name. I chill. Me and my wife kick it. I already got my wife cool. She like, go ahead and do your thing. I got time. Who has context for what would happen to someone to make that statement? What were the sequence of events that led to somebody making a statement that says Christian hip hop is dead? And what does dead mean? I forgot to get that. What does dead mean? Dead can mean, yo, hey man, Long John Silver's is still open. Who eats there? So when you say dead, dead means different things to different people. Dead means dead. If I shoot you, or if I'm 100 years old and I die, I'm dead. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And I'm glad you said that, Servant Music. It's the same story with Swift. I'm assuming you're talking about R. Swift. Bad album and then jump ship. That goes back to the point that I made earlier about the lack of accountability and discipleship, because the image of success was this thing. And if you don't hit this thing as an artist, hey man, we artists and we sensitive about our stuff. So, and the church could be making all these statements, these prophetic statements that God is going to do this with this project, or I'm going to do this, or this is going to be a breakout, and you're going to, lead the nations and all this stuff. What does that mean? What does that mean? All these listen, I am a prophet, fivefold ministry gift. I feel like people are multiple. My primary office is prophet. So I understand the office of a prophet. And there's a difference between prophetic and prophecy. Anybody can be prophetic, but that doesn't mean they're a prophet. So when prophets make these very general blanket statements about success, because there's no discipleship and no context behind success other than what we already see, and you don't get that level of success, yeah, people are going to be upset. They're going to be disappointed. They are. You not? What you going to tell me? You're just going to leave it up to God, leave it in God's hands? Most people don't believe that. They don't. They want to say that. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Just Christian. That's exactly what it is. And let me tell you why. So Just Christian, and shout out to Just Christian. He said, the thing is that no one clearly speaks on what was done to them. It's mostly vague. And there's a few reasons for that. Number one, people are protecting relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like, people could look at me right now. Let's just talk about, people could look at me right now and say that I'm doing this because Taylor's my man and Taylor and Chris are brothers. This has nothing to do with Taylor or Chris. But I know that Taylor can't speak to this because it's his brother. It's his brother, and it's his younger brother. So of course you're going to have that, who said something about my brother? I can. I'm not close to Chris like that. We cool. But I don't need to protect anybody. You know what I'm saying? So back to my point about it being vague, people are protecting relationships. There's still this hope and belief that they'll be successful. So they don't want to ruin anything because they want other artists to retweet their music, to get on a feature, and they hope that that's the big break and all this stuff, right? Sometimes people are embarrassed because it takes a level of humility to be like, yo, this was my expectation and it fell short. And I have to own my responsibility for that. Who gonna admit that? Yo, I had this expectation because it's vague, that their experiences are not the only thing that are vague. The expectations are vague. That's why what I do, if you guys follow my music, Y'all know that what I do, anytime I release music, I create what's called rules of engagement. So I tell you exactly what to do to access my music, and I make it very clear. Black Jordans and white socks. It's available from this date to this date. If you ask for it after that date, it's gone. It's only on here. It is not on streaming services. It's on I'm telling you what it costs this much money. Don't ask me for no hook, none of that. And people will tell you it's a bunch of red DMs from people. Dog, do you know how many my dog ate my homework stories I get from people who missed out on the project because they thought I was gonna make it available again? No. Absolutely, serving music. Christian, it's weird to say you want to be famous or successful for whatever reason. And now this is the first time that you're hearing people want to be successful. You got a bunch of people in here. You got a bunch of rappers in here. You got a bunch of entrepreneurs in here. And everybody's trying to get to a bag. And this is the first time folks are saying, I want to get to a bag in Jesus' name. And you got some churches that's saying, oh, that's demonic. Your eyes should be focused on Jesus. And I'm like, bro, I got a family that I'm leading, and I need money to lead my family because, Lord, you put me in America, in a capitalistic country where I need money to survive. And I'm not trying to be a victim. Let's get into victim culture in Jesus' name. I'm so tired, you guys, of this victim culture that exists in the church, particularly in the black church. And it bleeds into this space. So when I hear all these people talking about Chris, and anytime somebody comes against Christian hip hop, like, it's always from a place of victimhood. Are you a victim in Christ? To be a victim is a real thing. Yo, if I get robbed, I'm a victim. If I get done wrong, then I'm a victim. Right? So there's that. But like, am I always a victim? Jesus, what happened to Jesus? At what point did he take the posture of being a victim? So I fight that all the time, but I hear it all the time. Folks want to be victims and feel sorry for themselves and flog themselves, and somehow that's supposed to lead to God blessing them. That's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? Hey, try being one of the cats that emceed in church with pastors and people in the back pews praying against us. But I'm from Tunnel Rats, so I get it. I hear a lot of stories about Tunnel Rats and the things that era of Christian hip hop experienced. You know what I'm saying? People are still trying to protect this space. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's dead in the space in the means of let it go, it should die. But some things about it should die. Lil Russell said this recently. He said, yo, when you do right by people and you get kudos for it, that's a red flag, because you should just be doing right by people because you doing right by people. Like all the things that Lil Russell is doing, the fact that this is like mind-blowing and genius is an indictment on the industry. And we've always said that, yo, the Christians should be leading the pack in yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. But we not. Not even how we treat people. So, yeah, niggas got jobs. Niggas got 9-to-5s and making music. He's got families and making music. Because some of them people who are in these big, like these upper tier record labels, like the music is not taking care of them. And they're miserable. And they don't know what to do. And they don't want to get a job. So they end up what? Niggas take a job at a church, which is fine. But they do it begrudgingly because they have to. Cause wifey looking at them like, nigga, where that distro kid check? How much was that? $300? Hi, baby. $300? That check was $300? Our mortgage is $2,000. Our car note, that won't even cover our car note. What you gonna do? Folks gotta get a job. You know what I'm saying? So my point is that, yo, we just have to own the accountability. Own it. The system of Christian hip hop damaged some people. Now, granted, people make that. I just told Thistle this. I don't know what his response was, but I just told him this on Twitter. Granted, people make their own choices. People make their own choices. But you can't sit here and say that the system didn't make those choices easier to make. And this just ain't Christian hip hop. It's the gospel industry. I got friends who were in the gospel industry in the 90s and the 2000s, and they've told me stories as well. This is not new. So folks don't know no better. This is culture. That's why I tell people all the time, yo, why are all these pictures of what's Buddy's name? Not Jeffrey Epstein. Who was the dude? Who was the director? Weinstein. All these photos he posted up with Dame Dash, Oprah. Like, didn't Harvey Weinstein like produce Paid in Full or something like that? He produced something for Rockefeller. Oprah, Jay-Z, all these people taking pictures with Harvey Weinstein. You don't think him touching on them little girls and sexually harassing all those women, you don't think that was common knowledge? It's culture. So when people are like, how could he get away with this? Because it's normal. It's like going to a nude beach with clothes on. You're like, yo, what are you doing? He's just looking at you crazy because you're not naked in public. But go outside of those parameters, walk outside naked and see how people gonna look at you. Huh? Why are you naked? Like, what are you doing? You dig what I'm saying? So I just want full accountability and responsibility from everybody. This is not, oh, Chris was bitter or this rapper was, because again, it's bigger than Chris. It's bigger than Nino Brown. Oh, this rapper was bitter. This artist is bitter because they're not popping no more. There's context to that. There are events and situations and relationships that led to that moment. You don't just wake up one day and just decide CHH is dead. They trying to figure it out. And for some people, CHH is all they have because it's their only context of community. But it ain't real community. Not for real. It's a political, I know people, I know you, I know this, like it's that. Yeah, so there's people inside of that are able to flow and function. And I'm graced to know people in that space. So if I walk into that house, people ain't looking at me weird like, what's Armand doing here? But niggas know I'm about to leave. I'm gonna go get a plate, I'm gonna dap people up, and then I'm out. Okay, let's take some questions. Hold on. Can we do this? Hold up. All right. I don't know how y'all put questions in there or whatever, but y'all can put questions in there because I got a little bit of time. So Shane asked a question. So what do we do when people don't give context? Here it's two-sided. Number one, we don't deserve context from anyone. That's the other part. Like, niggas don't have to tell us nothing. They do, but they don't. And that's culture. But like, nobody's entitled to context in the situation. I could just say, yo, I could say, yo, that new Kendrick Lamar album is fire. Or that new Kendrick Lamar album is trash. And somebody says, well, why? I don't feel like telling you, it's just trash. I don't like it. You don't have to give that context. And me personally, one of the boundaries that I create is that I only expect context from people that I know. Like none of you guys. I'm not entitled to context from any of you guys. Eddie, yes, Kristen was signed to Kirk. Yep, the Glory album was under Kirk's label. And that was an interesting time. Chris has had an interesting career. Chris has had an interesting career behind the scenes, just like dealt with a lot of stuff. From Collision to Kurt, RCA, like he's had a very interesting career. Pray for that dude, and just pray for the music industry at large, which is predatory. The music industry is predatory at large. You don't think that doesn't bleed into the Christian space when the church can be predatory? Well, we all have instances of seeing the church being predatory, and your favorite Christian rappers at a time or two have been predatory towards other artists, towards women, towards money and power and influence. Come on, y'all. Let's just keep it all the way 100. I tell people all the time, like, yo, I did not get this much attention from women until I became a Christian and started rapping for Jesus. I didn't. And I took advantage. I did. And I hurt a lot of people. I did. What can you do? I didn't have the context that I have now. I didn't do the healing work that I'm doing now to be able to say that. Some people are still on their healing. I always say, like, yo, I say two. Number one, I say, I wonder if the Pharisees knew they were Pharisees. I wonder how many people come off Pharisaic. That's also a Christian. Like, yo, niggas was really mad that Chris called Thistle a Pharisee. Like, that was fun. I wasn't laughing at the diss, but I was like, oh, that, like, y'all are really mad that he called him a Pharisee. That's crazy. I've been called worse. The quality of music does change when cats leave the Christian hip hop space, though. I'm thinking of Xavier Omar off rip. Wrote the letter, got out of here, blew up. I'm new to Christian hip hop as far as hearing all this background stuff, and the more I found out, it's wild. I have people coming, trying to get money out of me, and some of them are artists attached to sites. Listen, I'm about to launch a Patreon, so I can't really speak to the money part. I need to be compensated for my time, depending on the circumstance. You know what I'm saying? But that's different. I'm not really. But sometimes, yeah, it is predatory. It is. Let me go through these comments and see what else y'all talking about. Let me see. Let the art speak. MC should have day gigs. It's weird how the people saying CHH is dead were in similar spaces. Chris, John Gibbs, Jay Givens. Is it Isaiah Ziv? It's Isaiah Ziv, right? Where there's smoke, there's fire somewhere. Everybody's not wrong. Keep telling y'all. People keep telling you, if people keep pushing back on the people when it's the system that the people manipulate, like, come on, man. People got to be honest, but they're not going to be honest because those spaces benefit them, and they trying to feed their family, and they trying to get to it. I'm telling you. I think he left Christian hip hop, but and I think he still has Christian themed music. He makes music about women that I feel like Christians can listen to and not be convicted or conflicted by. And then he also has worship music in his set. And so it was easier for his artists, because here's the other thing that a lot of artists don't do. Because at the end of the day, we can talk about all this, like, you know, structural stuff. But here's the other thing. Niggas just need to get their raps up. Niggas need to get their quality up. Zay got his quality up, and he's killing it. He's doing great. Shout out to Zay. Some people just mad because they still want it to be 2013. Excuse me. Some people still just want it to be that space, and it's not anymore. We gotta adapt. Step your raps up. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, because I'm working on some content about support, and there's just like entitlement, because that's the other thing. Like, people expect this entitlement, because this is what happens too. People come into the space and assume that because they're a Christian artist that, like, this is like this kumbaya, we are the world thing. And I thought that too. And I had a conversation with Lavoisier. He was the first Christian rapper notable that pulled me to the side and had a conversation with me. Shout to Voss. I forever got respect for Voss. And he was like, in so many words, he was like, this ain't that. And I had to learn that very quickly. You know what I'm saying? So people ultimately just need to get their music up and figure it out. So you think you're going to come in and you're going to be on some We Are the World, Kumbaya, everybody's together because everybody loves Jesus. And then you realize they don't. Some people don't. What Cephas say recently? He's like, yo, it's some Christian rappers who ain't even Christian. It was a little extreme of a statement, but I understand what he was saying. I don't know everybody's salvation, so I'm not going to sit up here and say that that's not true. But it's definitely people not living what they rap about and not being honest about living what they rap about until it's in hindsight. And that's something that Chris was talking. He talked about that on the Sway interview. Like, yo, anytime you hear Christian rappers or even the church talk about their sin, it's always past tense. It's always about something that they dealt with. And I got killed for that when I wrote the Rapzilla review for Lecrae's Gravity. I'm like, yo, he's talking about sin in past tense, and it's very like hazy and wavy, and it's not direct, but you letting these secular artists get into your sphere and do what you do better than them or better than you. You know what I'm saying? Like there has to, and as a rapper that loves Jesus, I'm like, no, get your bars up, cuz. It wasn't taken like that. So, at the same time, shouldn't we be aware that social media is a public broadcast? Absolutely. Yep, we should. Everybody's not. James, what up, boy? Everybody's not. They're not aware. They should be, you're right, but they're not. So everybody don't have it in them to, provide context all the time. And here's the other thing I would say for boundary setting, context ain't for everybody. It's one of the reasons why I like to create separation. Like there's people, it don't cost you nothing to follow me on social media, right? But when you, everybody don't deserve my context. I know to make sure that I say things in a way where it's just enough to where you get the gist. But if you want context, you got to come to me. And then I could still say, nah, I don't feel like explaining that. That's just me though. But you're right. That's the ultimate point that I'm making about all this. Like multiple things can be true. I'm not mad at people being upset at Chris's comment. I'm not mad at that. But also we have to acknowledge that like the system was foul. System was foul. All right, I got a question. Hold up. What do you say? All right, so what do I think? Is Christian hip hop dead? I gave listen. So dead, words mean things. So dead has to have some sort of context. So dead means dead when it comes to life, right? That's deep. Ooh, dead means dead. So once I die, I'm dead. But is a subgenre of music dead? Yes and no. What we've known Christian hip hop to be, yes. Because it's not, if we're talking about numbers and stuff, it's not generating the same, so let's just talk numbers for right now. The numbers are not generating the interest. It's a reason why people talk about the early God Over Money record. It's different eras. So people talk about, when I hear about it, because again, I'm not really in the space. I'm not really tapped in. Like I'm friends with people, but a lot of my friends just don't fool with the space. They fool with the people in the space, but they don't really fool with the space. So I hear people talk about like cross movement, tunnel rats. Then I hear people talk about, Ohio is slingshot. Then later on you hear like Collision, Humble Beast, God Over Money, RMG, right? These were like movements. We Live as Kings. These are movements and times and eras of music. I'm not really tapped in to know who the era is now. I do know that the kids, because this is my point about it being alive, the kids don't care about none of this stuff. The youngins, they got social media. They don't need Rapzilla like that. They could just prop their phone up and go to work. These are things like me that's been on the internet for 20 years. These are things that I've been dying to have, that these kids have the resources for, and I don't. So they killing it. You know what I'm saying? Homie had the spin back, pull up, spin back. He had that joint go viral. Like, it's wild easy to get your music out there now. Way easier. There's no such thing as gatekeeping. It doesn't exist now. So in that instance, I do think the Lord is doing a new thing with the younger artists who don't care about any of this stuff, who weren't hurt or impacted by what it is now. And I think as the OGs, we have a chance, we have an opportunity to decide what side of the fence we're gonna be on. We gonna be like this, or we gonna help the youngins out? I wanna help the youngins out. Smurf, what up, baby? That's my guy, man. I wanna help the babies. You know what I'm saying? So that's my response. I hope that answers your question. Are there any other questions, or y'all just listening to me rant? Because normally y'all be in here, we be in here talking. I'm going live again on Wednesday. I'm gonna do some more content tonight. I'm gonna summarize what I said tonight, make it into a little pretty real, and then okay, man, get out of here. How Cash gonna join now? I've been on here for almost an hour, G. You bugging. All right, Chad said the people who say CHH is dead are the people that are older, that lived in the good days of music when the bags were bigger. It's just different now. It's a different time. Music overall will be considered dead if we're looking at numbers. Bro, yo, folks ain't listen, man, niggas ain't posting they Bandcamp numbers. That's why I don't put music on streaming like that. My streaming numbers aren't crazy. You go on Spotify, I got what, 1,000 listens a month? My Bandcamp is nice. I do all right. The numbers ain't crazy, but yo, my supporters show love. A lot of love. And I'm forever grateful for that. You know what I'm saying? So somebody made a point about, yo, you can't, there's people who can't fit 300 people there's not a Christian artist who can fit 300 people in a room. Well, maybe. But what if if that's the barometer, that's the measure, there's too many measures. It's too convoluted. And that's all I want people to say is bro, this is complicated. This is not black and white. And many church conversations are black and white. They're presented as black and white. And they're not black and white. There's a lot of color. It's why black people get mad when white folks say, I don't see color. No, you should see color. You should see black and yellow and green and orange. I don't care if you're black, white, no, you should care. There's context. You know what I'm saying? There's context, bro. And we just have to acknowledge that the context exists and it's not cut and dry. That's why Twitter is a bad space for this conversation. So now everybody's just yelling at each other. If you go back to our old episodes of CRS from 2011, we did an episode called Twitter is Cocaine. And we said this 11 years ago. Twitter is either hot or cold. Social media is hot or cold. You got 140 characters and you have to say the most outlandish stuff. And it's either super hot or it's dumb ice cold. You can't, there's no room for this. I've been on here for an hour explaining my stance. There's no way I could have got this off on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? I gotta break this down. I might do a little series or something. You know what I'm saying? So as people, in the space, I'm not lying because I don't have any relationships to protect. I'm cool with everybody except the few people that I'm not. And the people that I'm not cool with, I don't care. I don't care enough to throw them under the bus. I don't hate anybody. Except Patrick Beverly. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying, bro. That's all I'm saying. I think I'm good. I don't want to stay on here too long. Anybody got any other questions for me? Anything else? I'm gonna give y'all about 30 more seconds. Christian, CHH ain't dead and won't die unless metrics are subjective. That's right. Metrics are subjective. So it depends on what you I was just having, actually, I was talking to Smurf and I was talking to two of my boys and two of my best friends in this chat. We was just talking about this last night. Like, yo, value is relative. I'm going to make a reel about this. Value is relative. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I bought one of my shoes back there, if I bought a pair of Jordans for $180 and then I sell them to you for $350 or $400 and you choose to buy them, now they're worth $400. But if you say I'm only spending $200 and I decide that they're worth $200, then I'll take the $200. Now they're worth $200. Value is relative. Your man Tank Davis came out in some Denim Tears, and I love Denim Tears. Denim Tears is fire. But you know what Denim Tears is? Denim Tears is literally some Levi's jeans with some flowers painted on them. And they charge $300. And they sell out every time. And I want a pair. You might see me with a pair. So, man, everybody asking questions. No, Cash, I can't run this convo back. Bro, I've been at this for an hour, G. I dropped bars earlier. Chad, thank you, bro. That means a lot coming from you. I'm gonna DM you soon. I need to have a conversation with you, G. I got some questions and just some dialogue I would like to have with you. Let me ask. Oh, I got other questions. Okay. How do I feel about Christian hip hop content? Is it substantial enough? That's a great question. I briefly mentioned that earlier. I'm just reading my comment. I'll answer that in a minute, Chris. I talked about that earlier where like people were taken advantage of because people were getting on these records and screaming out Jesus, right? Jesus, 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 Jesus. And so you assume because folks is out here screaming Jesus that they good people. They do good business. Gonna do right by people. And then that's not the case, right? Like I said, Christian hip hop is a system, and the system in itself needs changes, but also it is a system that is easily manipulated. But that can exist for churches, schools, politics. Our entire American system is constantly being manipulated and adjusted for people's benefits, right? So with that said, for one, I just said this, like, I'm not really tapped into what a lot of people are doing. There are some people that I do like. There's this kid named Bats that I really like. He's super dope. I don't know him from a can of paint. I know he follows me. But I think he's really, really dope and I want to rap with him. But like the people that you know, like the typical like Christian hip hop people, like I'm not really tapped in. I'm not really, I did like Bizzle's last joint, the freestyle he did like a month ago. That was hard. That was super hard. Bizzle is one of the greatest orators and communicators of our time. I had a show with him in Colorado. And, it was back in the days when you would rap a song and then you would preach, and you would rap and you would preach. And like, so Biz would rap and Biz was cool. Like Biz was rapping, he's doing his thing. But Biz would like speak and the room was just dead silent. He's just putting things together. It's like the Prison Break blueprint. Like he's killing it. So I think Biz is one of the greatest communicators of our time. Like he's gifted in that. But other than that, bro, I'm not really tapped in, unfortunately. I wish things were more substantial. Y'all know me, I'm biased. Like I feel like Taylor Gray's one of the greatest rappers in the world. That's my boy. I just heard Jonathan Baker's new album that's coming out and it's nuts. They got Afro Beats records and house records and all types of stuff, man. Like he like So my friends, yes, I'm biased. I listen to my friends, but like, you know, the subgenre or the genre at large, like, I don't really listen to it. What did it say? Do you think some of Christian hip hop is becoming lifestyle music? I make lifestyle music. Absolutely. It should be lifestyle music. It should be. It should absolutely be lifestyle music. Some people, and it's a thing. So like you got people like The Truth who will literally like rap the Bible to you, and that's needed, and that's necessary, right? But then you got people like me who talk about life and stuff and things. Because again, I said this earlier, but and of course, Swoop. Listen. Y'all didn't listen to that Middle Class album because Swoop had one of the best verses of the year. Definitely had the best Rapper for Jesus verse of the year, far and away. Record called Gold Watches. It's on his Instagram. I shot the video, edited it. The verse is phenomenal. But yeah, just like, bro, just tell your story. That glorifies God. The fact that you're alive and you're living, that glorifies the Lord. I always say this, my life is worship. But I'm not sitting there like this. I don't do this when I worship. This isn't my style of worship. I don't do that. You know what my worship is? I live. And I try to make the best decisions that benefit my family and my community. And I respect people. And I try my best to do right by people. And when I don't do right by people, I try to account for it. And if I don't account for it, I ask for forgiveness. That's all you can do, bro. So if that shows up in the raps, great. So, all right, man. Is that it? Is that it? We good? Man, y'all ain't here, boy. I might need to start doing Sundays. I don't know, did the thing come in? Did it feed in from Twitter? Hold on, what my Twitter say? Was y'all on here on Twitter talking about me? Yeah, y'all were. Okay. All right, what Thiz say? Thiz responded to me. We don't disagree. I just said what you said. I agree completely. My disagreement comes from the past hurts projected on the present people that have nothing to do with that. I've been around the system as a whole. Didn't hurt people. The people did. Take it to the people. No one is invalidating them. Have your issue, but handle like men and let it go. I had a Christian distro, owe me $30K at one point, but I don't think the distro is okay. Some of the same people that have these offenses, I guarantee most of them have offended as well. Absolutely. Take it to the table of people that you have offenses with and resolve it. There's a lot of good happening for this gen. They don't need to put the trash on the floor. Sure. Absolutely. I'll respond to that later. Oh man. All right. I think I'm getting out of here. Is there anything else? Anything else? Because I'm in the mood to talk. Otherwise, Wednesday nights, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to my YouTube. Just search Armand Wake Up. I'm streaming Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to get into this a little bit more. I'm going to see what the fallout is. I'm sure I got DMs and responses and stuff like that. I'm going to make some content. And we just going to talk about this for a little bit. So I think I said everything that was necessary and needed to say. I appreciate you guys. And y'all have a great night.